Welcome to the Handshake training video on how to create and post interview schedules. This section applies to both school staff members and employer staff members. Both use about the same process for posting interviews. We will simply be going through the staff member version here, but the steps are basically the same. So first you want to go to the Interview Schedules tab and click on New Interview Schedule. The first step is to pick which type of interview you want to create. There are 4 types. Room-only interviews. Just reserve a room with interview slots. All of the recruiting and so on is done offline by the employer through their own methods. An open interview, students just need to pass the qualifications for the interview, and then they can freely claim time slots during the registration period. A pre-select continuous interview has a registration period, and then the employer sorts them into primary and alternate candidates, and they assign the students to the slots that they wish those students to have. And on a pre-select interview, things get a little bit more complicated. The first thing that happens is students who meet the qualifications can apply to the interview. Then the employer sorts them between primaries and alternates. Then primaries get to choose their slots. Then alternates and whatever primaries are left get to choose their slots. And then it can be converted to open so that anyone can choose a slot, if any remain. So let's go with the pre-select continuous interview. As an administrator here of a school, we need to choose an employer for this interview. We'll go with Google. If you are an employer creating an interview, you need to choose a school in this step. We'll give it a slot count. Let's say 4, and each one we want to be 45 minutes. So we can also set the interview date here. Let's set it for September 17th. And the next step is the timeline. You can apply a timeline that's already pre-made, and it will say what the start date for the applications are and what day they can end applications. So between these 2 dates, students can sign up. Between the end date and the interview, nobody can sign up for it. You can also set a date for the interview schedule to convert to open. Which we should probably make September 10th. This is the day that the interview opens up and anyone can take a slot if any remain. You also choose which documents you require students to submit, and then click Create Interview Schedule. You're brought to the Interview Schedules page, or the Qualifications page. This is where you set what the interview qualifications are. You can designate a minimum school year and a maximum school year, whether you require a department GPA, and how strict you want to be about that GPA. And you'll notice that as we fill out each field, the student drill down here shows you how many students at the university match these qualifications. So if you're matching too few students, for example, if you require a cumulative GPA of 4.0, we can see that no students match. However, if you decide that's a bit strict, you can lower it to 3.0 and get 15 students that qualify. You can also sort by majors here, simply by clicking down and looking through the various options. Let's put computer sciences here. And then you can also choose which work authorizations you wish. Majors will be suggested after seeing a few of the ones in there, and they are suggested from related majors. So let's click Update Student Screen. And the qualifications are successfully updated. Now, if you posted this as an employer, it still needs to be approved. Let's take a look at how administrators go through the approval process on a schools page. So on interview schedules here, we'll notice that the September 6th interview has not been approved. Let's go ahead and approve it, and then head over to the interviews page. We see that no interview slots have been added to the schedule yet. We probably want to do that. So let's go with apply a template. Since it's a school, we've already manufactured one of those. Training run through, and there we go. We have 3 interview slots of 45 minutes each. We can add an empty slot if we wish. Clicking on it lets us edit things such as the start time. Let's make this one start at 1 p.m. and last until 1:15. We can give it a designated room. Just start typing and it will be suggested from among the rooms available at your school. If we have students already registered, we can registered as applying for the interview. We can select one of them here to be the student, and we can type in the name of the interviewer. And we can also click it as disabled. This means that students will not be allowed to claim this time slot. That is useful for cases where the employer may want some downtime without students, for example, to discuss the previous interview or just have a lunch break. Click Save, and it is approved with all the slots there. And now the interview is ready to go.